Moving to Australia made me question everything. But
Ho, ho, ho.
what is she questioning? Her life in America?
Maybe that's going to be very interesting to see. What sort of differences is there that, makes her rethink everything going on?
Let's check it out. Here we go.
I moved to Australia for 6 months, and it totally changed the way I view everything. I had to question what I believed before. But first, this is Tiffany Travels. I help women and families travel, build wealth, and live richer. So on my channel, you'll find travel vlogs from around the world, as well as interviews with women and families who have moved abroad. If that sounds interesting to you, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. So I did a study abroad in Australia, and I went to New Zealand
That
and
would be
Fiji
cool.
while I was there. This is during a time of my life where my father was very ill. And I was just in a YOLO phase. I was just in this phase where I'm going to do everything that I want to do before something happens to me, before I die. So I was in like a YOLO phase. So I was doing bungee jumping, I was doing whitewater rafting, I was doing canoeing, I was doing all of these excursions all over Australia. And I went from Sydney up to Cairns to New Zealand. I was doing all these things. While I was there doing the excursions, I met other travelers. So even though I was living there at the time, I was meeting travelers because I was doing excursions like whale watching. I was doing stuff like that in Australia,
Okay.
or going to the Great Barrier Reef and going snorkeling there. So I I met people, and the people there were from Europe, or they were mostly from Europe. Every now and again, I'd meet other Americans, but for the most part, they were from Europe, and they would be in Australia for 4 to 6 weeks. And I kept meeting
Jeez.
people who were saying that they were on holiday, and they were saying, "Oh, how long are you here for?" And I would tell them I'm here for a study abroad, and they would say, "Oh yeah, we're just here for 4 weeks, or we're here for 2 weeks, and then we're gonna go 2 weeks in Melbourne, Melbourne." So I started to realize the rest of the world takes a holiday at least once a year. And by holiday,
It's not just the maybe you'll get 10 days, 10 vacation days in the US. Oof.
I mean, a lot of people, their mindset is just kind of like stack, 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 stack their vacation days, and then eventually still never even go on it.
Yeah. A lot of people stack their PTO and stuff too, and then they never end up using it, and then they switch their job, and then they just kind of get it like paid out. They never use it, and then they go to their new job, and then they start stacking again.
I mean, a 4 week trip for a working class American, unheard of.
Doesn't happen. It just literally doesn't happen.
Literally, never.
I mean, 4 to 6 weeks.
Just to add on to that, I wanted to go on a similar length trip when I was working part time at a Nike, and they told me they couldn't let me have the time off. Not even PTO, just I couldn't have the time off. So I had to quit that job.
At least
Part time job, by the way.
once a
His
year.
high school job.
Yeah.
And so I met so many people who were on holiday. I met so many people who were in Australia for 4 to 6 weeks, and they would tell me about their previous travels. So they would say, "Oh yeah, last year we went to Jamaica, or the year before that we went to the U.S., or the year before that we were in France, or the year before." This is a regular thing. They travel for weeks every single year. This is not like a once in a lifetime type of situation. This is not,
That's the only way in the US
Hmm.
people will go for that long. It's a once in a lifetime. It's like after college, you go for your month long trip, maybe two, once in a lifetime.
Then maybe around 50, like if you're still in decent health around your 50s, you can go on a really long trip somewhere, but that might be pushing it still.
Yeah, sometimes like when people retire, they'll go on a really long one, and that's when they're already in their
Yeah, that's 65.
60s. Yeah, and obviously that's a bit different of a trip. So
I need a break. I need a gap year. I need a career break. I need a sabbatical. This is how they do life. And I was in college at the time. So I was almost 20, I was 19 years old. And this kind of shaped how I viewed work. I was thinking to myself, we have it backwards in the US. Like why? And the sun is coming out. So let me try to position myself so that I'm less in the sun. Yeah, this is just how they do life. And I was in college and I was just thinking this model or the paradigm that we have in the United States where you only go on vacation for 2 weeks and most people don't even use the 2 weeks all at once, that we get 2 weeks
A lot of
vacation.
people don't even use it to go anywhere. They'll just take 2 weeks off and sit at home.
Or use a few days to add on to a weekend and then just chill. And then like maybe if they're sick one day, if they don't have like a sick day, they use one of those.
Or they'll just use a bunch of their days to go to their cabin that they go to every single year instead of going somewhere new and experiencing something different. It's so different than other places in the world.
And you got to spread that out throughout the year. It's frowned upon for you to take 2 weeks at once. So people are taking long weekends. People are taking a week at the most, maybe 10 days. If you can put it next to a holiday, maybe 10 days. And then that's it. And that is what is normal in the US.
Yeah, and she mentioned putting it next to a holiday, but also at the same time, if that is possible for you, good. A lot of times employers will pressure you and be like, well, that's, there's a lot more work on that day. We're really stretched thin. People have already taken their time off. We're going to need you that day. And then you can't take those days off.
You're part of the family. You can't abandon your family.
And so when I had this experience, this realization, because there was so many people, it wasn't one or two people, it was so many people that I met that had the same experience. It was eye-opening. It was like, this is how I want to live my life. I want to be able to take time off from work. I want to be able to take 4 to 6 weeks. I want to be able to take extended travel during the summer. When I was in Australia, that is when I decided that is how my life is going to look. I am going to make sure that I set myself on a career path that allows me to travel. And so that's the beauty of travel, is that you have these aha moments, you have these moments where you are changing your paradigm, you're changing how you think. And it's a beautiful thing when you question or when you challenge what's normal. And you're like, this, what I thought was normal is not normal. That is overworking. That is working yourself to death. That is not living. What I want to do is live my life and be able to have these experiences that other people have on a regular basis. So YouTube thinks that you would like.
And that's the problem with a bunch of US people, like 2/3 of US people not even having passports and never leaving the US. They just stay in the bubble. They never hear any outside perspectives. They're always in that bubble.
It's so important to be able to go and experience a new way of living, even if you don't agree with that way of living, just to see it and be like, oh, this is how people do it. It works for some people. Maybe you find one that works for you too in another place. It's something that you should do sometime in your life, but it's looked down upon in the US.
We're told that the US way of living is the best way of living. All the other countries are behind because the US is the best country in the world, and we're the richest and we are the most free. So that's just kind of what's pushed into our head 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. It's just, that's how people, and it's not even like a malicious way of thinking for most people. It's just what they've always been told. So they just believe it. They're just like, oh, I mean, I'd like to go see that place, but why would I leave? Because this is the best place and it's the most safe.
That's one of the biggest reasons the ignorant American stereotype where it comes from.
That's just how it is.
I truly wonder how, like, the statistics of, on average, how many more countries, I mean, it's a little bit more skewed for Europe because there are a lot more countries in a close area, but how many more countries a European / an Australian visits than an American? Australia would be the true test because it's similar mainland sized. Getting to another country is a little bit further.
We always see Australians in Asia. That's
yeah.
the main group of, obviously it makes the most sense. Southeast Asia for Australians is kind of like the Caribbean for the United States. And the big thing that would skew it is Americans that go places outside of Mexico and the Caribbean and Canada. Those are usually the only international places that Americans would go. So that's interesting. But hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.